streaming, okay? Let's see if this is coming through. Stream key. Oh, wait, I might be able to hear. Hold on one second,
Copy
guys.
this here.
Is it coming through? Oh, it looks like you're ready. Click here to start streaming, okay? It just took a minute, I think, just to get connected here. One sec. Let's see if this is coming through. Stream key. Oh, wait, I think we're good. I think we're live, guys. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Test, test, test. Sound check, sound check. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, awesome. Well, that was weird. Okay, so it just took a while for YouTube to get connected for some reason, which is really odd. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, good. All right, guys. Well, thanks for your patience there as we got this broadcaster connected too. Because one of the things I was trying to do tonight is get the keep this as an upcoming event, right? So people could jump in a little bit early, and maybe eventually we'll make it kind of like a lobby. You can hear, but you can't see, Blondbro. Can you guys see? Can you guys see? You can't see. Can you see like the riding the waves, like the main screen right there? You see the riding the waves title screen? Can you see the riding the waves title screen? You can? Okay, good. Okay, yeah, good. All right, Blondberg, you might just want to just refresh your screen or something like that. Yeah, so cool. Okay, cool. All right, good. Yeah, we're good. Yep. So we haven't started yet. We're not looking at charts yet. I was just trying. Yeah, main screen. Okay, we're good. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. So, all right. So now that we got these technical difficulties through the way, really appreciate it. So guys, we're here with Paul tonight. So we're going to be doing our Elliott Wave analysis, riding the waves with John and Paul. And I got Paul joining us from Colorado. Paul, are you still out there after these little technical difficulties here?
Yeah, I made it. I'm still here. That's
Awesome.
good.
Good,
Yeah.
great. Glad to have you here. Really appreciate it. And guys, tonight I'm really excited about our show. Tonight we're going to be covering really cool stuff. We're going to be taking a look at basically the big FANG names, all the big names that we like to track, our go-to list names that we like to track going into this week. Why? Because it's earnings season and we've got all these big names reporting this week. So we want to take a look and see, what they look like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the harmonic chart tonight. And you guys notice I posted a bunch of harmonics on Twitter tonight. And then Paul's going to dig in a little bit deeper and look at the Elliott Wave counts on those and see what might be setting up going into earnings. Now, guys, we've done a whole series on earnings. We did earnings last earnings season, and I went through and tried to guess earnings on most of the names. And we started out pretty good. We were 100% going, and then by the end of the week, we were at 40%. Right, which means that it doesn't matter how good your technical analysis is. It's still a binary event. Anything can happen, right? Take a look at Snap the other day, right? Even with good earnings, right? They say one thing on the conference call about, what they're expecting coming up into the week, right? Boom, the thing gaps down huge, right? And brings down the market, basically. Brings down Facebook, which then is heavy weighted on the market, right? So, but we are going to get a little bit into it and see what could happen. And, one of the things that Paul might point out is like, if we gap up, right? We're not saying it's going to gap up, but like if we gap up, then that could confirm a wave 3 move, that type of thing. Or if we gap down, then it might show us that we're working on a bearish wave, right? And the harmonic is completely invalidated, right? So, but let's see what it does, and see how these wave counts look, and maybe it does give us a little bit of an edge going in earnings, because earnings is a binary event, but maybe it's just that folks haven't figured it out yet, right? That's one of the things too. So, anyway, guys, so really really good stuff. So, but before we get started, keep in mind absolutely everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome. Good. So obviously, like we said, guys, we're going to take a look at these harmonics tonight on the names going into earnings. But first, we're going to take a look at where we left off in the market last week, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what might be setting up going into into tonight and into tomorrow. And then we'll just jump in and we'll take a look at those harmonics and see how things might play out. And we'll hopefully learn a little about the harmonics along the way and some Elliott Wave along the way too. So let's get started. All right, guys. So SPX, although it finished down about 4 points on Friday, check out this monthly candle. What an incredible move, right? So we're finishing up the month of October, if you can believe it. What a fast month! And last month, right in September, was a bearish engulfing candle, right? Kind of ominous, right? I mean, we were like, okay, well that's it has a huge probability of downside, and we got a little bit of downside, but no real follow through, and they just ate right through it and just plowed right up, and fresh all-time highs to completely take out the bearish engulfing candle. Are we surprised with the way this market's been going since 2020? No, I mean this thing's just been epic, right? It's been running its way up, and it just is what it is, right? So earnings have been good, so we'll see how the earnings look this week. There's a lot of other stuff on the radar that earnings are going to have to contend with. Right, and one of those big things is, blame Facebook and Apple, but also look at the supply chain and look at the inflation, right? So that's kind of interesting too. I believe Janet Yellen was talking about inflation again tonight, and so we got that going on, right? So very, very interesting stuff there. Others and Zach, guys, let's see here. Weekly chart, right? We plot our way up right here. Nice bounce off of the mid-Bollinger Band, getting pretty tough to the upper BB. And weekly chart, daily chart again, outside day on Friday. Doji to get to the highs right here. We're going to be using this chart to look at harmonics, like kind of change the colors around to make it more fun. And then here's our Elliott Wave count, or at least one Elliott Wave count going in this week. But we've been tracking it pretty nicely right here. We kind of got out of the bearish, the bearish feel of the whole thing once we started to see some impulsive waves up, right? It's usually not bearish price action, especially once we clear these levels right here. So 1-2-1-2 on this one, and this wave 3 has just been gapping and going, gapping and going, gapping and going, gapping and kind of going. And then we got a little bit of a drop on Friday, retrace, and now the real question is, are we going to start to work our way down and maybe get to the 236 and maybe the 382, which I doubt, just the way the market's been. But 382 is the gap fill down here, right? We'll see if this wave 4 goes. Then we'll see if we get a wave 5 up and continue this up move, right? So it could be pretty interesting. Again, like we said, guys, big names coming up this week. We got Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook. I mean, just about the majority of the FANG is reporting this week, which is pretty amazing, right? So pretty cool stuff there. Let's take a look at the S&P futures and see what we're up to down to this evening. What am I setting up going in tomorrow? So S&P futures are down about 12 points right here. So again, that does support the wave 4 theory. We've been tracking that wave 4 all week, so it's not like we're just like, oh yeah, look, I was right on the wave 4. I mean, no, we've been tracking it for a while. So again, this could be working, kind of A, B, and could be working on larger wave C down. It depends, where this thing wants to go, if we gap down or not. Just kind of look at what we've seen here this evening, right? It's just a, basically a little bit of an attempt here, and then kind of a bear flag that ended up working its way down here this evening. Oh, look at that, cool. I got this little, kind of flaggish type pattern, and then boom, breakdown right there. So we'll see how it holds, but again, look at that. They're already, fast buying the dip going into the evening. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, really happy again to have Paul here again with us tonight. Like we said, tonight on the Riding the Wave show, I'm going to go through, we're going to go through one stock at a time on the FANG names. I'm going to try to go in chronological order of when they report this week. And so Facebook is the first one that reports this week. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the harmonic setup, or the harmonic, and I'm going to explain what it means and where we go from there. And then Paul's going to dig into it a little bit more on the Elliott Wave count and shows what might be setting up there. Okay? So here we go. So let's take a look. So we've got Facebook. Let's go to the daily chart here, and I'll show you the harmonic on this one. Okay, so and why is the harmonics not showing up there? Oh yeah, because it's got like some defaults on here. So let me just pull these up. Okay, there we go. So the harmonic. So what have we got going on here? So on this one here, we've got a harmonic pattern right here, right? So we've got a 382 and then an 886, right? Pullback. And so what I like, these are some of my favorite. We talked about these in the newsletter this weekend. One of the things I like about this is the 382, 886, right? It's a 382 from this initial wing down here, and then we get this pullback right here to about the 886. And then what this often leads to is the start of multiple names. What I love about this is it basically gives you, it either goes to this the 1.618, the 224, the 2.618, or for your crab pattern, it gives you the crabby patty, it gives you the 3.618. So Facebook, based on the harmonic, could be working on a very, very bullish wing right here, which is really interesting, right? So any breakdown below these levels, so in other words, if Facebook gaps up and it's strong after earnings, I would say this thing is really, really strong, right? Because it's at very least it would want to get to 363. Now, of course, it could gap up to 363. If that's the case, we'd see if it's still strong and wants to get to the next harmonic up, right, which is pretty close to all-time highs, right? The next extension up. So that being said, if we gap down, then this obviously this harmonic is invalidated, and then we'll see what kind of trend it's going from there, right? So at this point here, it might be like a shark harmonic to the downside or something like that. So harmonics are not like Elliott Wave, guys, where like there's always an Elliott Wave count somewhere. Harmonics, you just kind of have to see it, right? And they have to jump out at you, and they have to make sense. There may be some smaller harmonics throughout the day. Sometimes we see them throughout the day that give us good day trades, but you just kind of want to see it and then kind of go with it. So let's see what kind of strength Facebook has going into this week. Paul, I'm going to turn it over to you. What are you seeing on the Elliott Wave count? By the way, guys, I just want to say when you can combine harmonics with Elliott Wave, it's very, very powerful stuff, right? And a lot of times the harmonic move, like this is like a 1-2 type move, and we're actually getting ready for a wave 3 up, which is really, really cool. So once we get confirmation that the harmonic is in play, then you can get into the Elliott Wave count and start to ride the wave up. Right, so it's a very, very powerful combination, and we're one of the, probably one of the only groups that works on that. So, but I'm going to turn it over to Paul, guys. And Paul, guys, speaking of group, Paul is he's in charge of our Elliott Wave channel in our Discord, and does a great job. If you like his Elliott Wave work, you definitely should consider checking out our group and jumping in there and asking questions to him throughout the day. Having check your wave counts, things like that. Really, really good stuff. Links are in the description. But in the meantime, I'm going to turn it over to Paul.
Hey, thanks, John. Yeah, Facebook looks good. I love harmonics, by the way. I'm still pretty new to them, but they do work pretty well with Elliott Wave. They're both based on fibs, so there are a lot of correlations. For Facebook, what do I got going here? Let's see. I have us going up in a wave 3 here, pretty impulsive move up. And then I have us coming down in an ABC, which is a wave 4. It's in between the 236 and the 382. And it looks like we had a impulsive wave 1 up and then a wave 2 down to the 887. So there's a possibility that we could get a wave 3 push up here, which is right in line with the harmonic. It looks pretty similar, actually.
Nice. So this is big, guys. So Facebook is reporting on Monday, so tomorrow after the close. Right, so this is big, right? So Paul, if we get a gap up, if we get a big gap up, that usually when we see a gap up, that confirms a wave 3, right?
Exactly. Yeah, wave 3s have a lot of gaps. They're fast. They're explosive. So it looks like Facebook is setting up for one.
So what happens if we gap down?
If we gap down, that will lower the wave 4, and we could have a lower wave C here.
Could be a zigzag. Could be a zigzag.
Yeah, this is a wave 4, and theoretically it could easily go to the 382. So this could turn into a WXY. The bear count would be lower to the 382. So yeah, that's still possible for sure.
ABC, nice, cool. All right, well, good. All right, well, guys, so let's keep an eye. This is big. This is I think Facebook is really, really important going into this week. Obviously, it's going to set the tone for the FANG names, but it's going to set the tone for the social media names, right? So, we had some, Pins was up the other day on acquisition news from PayPal, and we were like, I don't know, this looks a little bit like it wants to break down, and it did. And then Snap, just gapped down huge on Friday, after earnings, and that really brought everything else down too. That's why we see this big gap down here on Facebook. So we'll see if the Snap contagion, continues to creep into these other social media names. If it gets into Facebook, if Facebook is weak, that could bring down, the market a little bit, kind of heading this week, and get folks a little bit cautious heading into the other earnings that are coming up this week. So cool. So that's Facebook. So good stuff there. What else do we have on the radar here next? Let me pull up the next harmonic, guys. Give me 1 second here. So first harmonic is Facebook. Next one that's coming up is AMD. So AMD's got earnings coming up on Thursday after the close. So Tuesday after the close. Give me 1 second here, guys. Yeah, AMD is Tuesday after the close. So let me get this pulled up here, guys. So let's get AMD. So AMD is very interesting. Let's get the harmonic pulled up here. It's had an epic run up. Let's look at the first harmonic. So I've got 2 harmonics on this one that are both reasonable, right? So most recently, that I'm not a huge fan of this. It does work with the harmonic. It does work. It's a this definitely is a down move right here. I prefer a cleaner move. I don't really like this kind of slop, I mean, it's nice. It's an A, B, C, type thing on a Elliott Wave count. But, I prefer like a cleaner straight move. I'd rather start the harmonic here, right? At which point, this is a, kind of a 1-2, and then, this is more of like a 618 or a 50% retrace of this move down. But this is okay. You can still do this, right? It's fine. There's no like, rule that says, hey, this doesn't mean that we didn't move down this distance, right? So it's just harder to trade if you're starting. But once you see it, right, you can use it, right? And so right off the 382 again, right down a little bit deeper than the 886, but that's fine as long as it doesn't take out these levels, right? And then at this point now, it's already moved up to the 224, right? So the 2.618 basically takes this thing up to all-time highs, and that could be, a potential butterfly pattern type move, right? And then so the real question is, how much farther would AMD go on earnings? And if it does, the 3.618 makes it a crab pattern, and we'll see if AMD does that, right? So the only way, this is tough, right? These are, I prefer getting involved in these down here, right? If you can see you've got a 382 retrace and you pull back, you hold these recent lows, and you got the 886, then you dive in here for the Elliott Wave count, right? And you can see here you had this beautiful, what was the low right here? This is a 99.81. 99.82. Paul, that's about as deep as you can get on a retrace right there for a wave 2 without invalidating it. And then so you get this, so you get this 1, 2, and then boom, you get this wave 3 that starts to work its way up, right? So you 1, 2, it could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be 5 extended, that type of thing. So once again, guys, on Tuesday after the close, we need to see what AMD is going to do, right? So if AMD, for instance, if it opens flat, this 2.618, it might tag all-time highs, and then we look for the, this is technically a bearish harmonic. We just like to trade the CD wing, the final wing of these things, because it corresponds so well with Elliott Wave, and you can really kind of track those up to your targets. And when you have like a 382, 886 move, your first target's always going to be the 1.618. Right? And that's your minimum move. And then if you get above that, like it did here with strength, well, okay, we got the 224, 2.618. If it gets above there, you get the 3.618. Just kind of, ride that harmonic up, right? And then you check your Elliott Wave count to see where you're going from there. So that's the first one I've got on AMD. So that's very bullish, but there is the chance that we have this going on. This is a very bearish one, right? So it's almost the opposite. So if we go all the way from this recent pivot low down here, and we go up to all-time highs, right? We get about a 382 retrace down from that move, and then we come back up for the 886, and it's very possible that we could be starting a bearish CD wing here of a bullish harmonic, right? So isn't that neat? So it's also possible that AMD, if we gap down, could be working on this leg, and your first target on this is the 1.618, and that's 84 point. That's about 85. Right? So that would be pretty wild, right? So if we see a gap down here and the semiconductors are weak going in, and the other earnings are weak, AMD might be starting a bearish harmonic wing right here all the way down to 85. And then if it really wanted to get going, if it was like a crab pattern, it could get all the way down to $38, but I doubt that's going to happen. But this would be a very, very interesting level, and it corresponds with this nice pivot level right here. Right, so that's that would be a good level of potential support. Chop around right there, and then we start again, to the never-ending wave up. Right, so AMD had a very, I liked AMD. I thought that was interesting because it gave us two very distinct harmonics, basically an alt count or an alt harmonic going into earnings on Tuesday after the close. So good stuff there, Paul. What do you got on Elliott Wave? Let's take a look.
All right, AMD. What I do have is we finished the wave 3, and then we have this ABC wave 4 coming down that you were talking about. We came down close to around the 618, and then we started an impulse up. Still waiting for it to show up on YouTube. There we go.
There it is. Yeah.
But basically, here's wave 3, here's the wave 4, and then here's this strong impulsive move up. It's a 1, 2. I have the 2.618 of wave 3 right here. Notice you get a 4 and a 5. Since this is the high of wave 3, wave 5 from an Elliott Wave point of view needs to break through this dashed line to be legit. So it's almost there, but we're likely at least going to get a push above the dashed line to complete this impulse up. 3, 4, 5, and then possibly a wave down like John was talking about. So that's in the cards.
Nice. And it's so close, right? I mean, it's so close. I mean, you're just kind of looking at it too. I mean, like it technically could be ABC up. It could be a 3-3-5 still. I mean, and it could still work on that real bearish harmonic wing too. I mean, so there's a couple possibilities here. And I think it's interesting going into earnings. And these levels are very, very important. Right, so for instance, if they're strong, if AMD is strong tomorrow, and cracks above it, and then Tuesday it kind of lingers around there. It might work on that gap up for earnings. So it's definitely something to look at. But if we're weak tomorrow and we gap down on earnings, AMD could be starting its descent. I mean, it's very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wave five could just go a little higher and then boom, we go down.
Yeah. So let's keep an eye on this, guys, going into this week. So good. Next one on the radar. Let me take a look here. So we've got dun dun dun. Google. Google. I had a chart request on Google earlier too. So let's take a look at Google. I'm going to pull this up here on the harmonic on this one. Now Google is very interesting. So Google has basically beat on earnings every time, right? So recently it's beat, like, just over the last couple years. This earnings was kind of like a no-go right here back in. It was a beat, but they ended up gapping down, right? This is back in 2020 in July. But here, boom, big gap up, and Google's been prone to this on its earnings, right? It's like boom, big gap up, 100 points. Here, boom, big gap up here, 100 points, right? Here's another one. This one was boom, big gap up, another 100 points, right? So are we going to gap up 100 points? Or are we going to gap down? And what's interesting about this is, I don't really see too much of a bullish harmonic going on this one. Well, technically, this is a bearish harmonic, right? Because once you get to the bottom right here, this is a bullish harmonic, because once you get to the bottom here, it goes, the idea is it goes long after it finishes the harmonic. However, we trade harmonics a little bit differently than, kind of the textbook version. We like to ride this wing, right? Which oftentimes gives us a big wave right here. So you can see that Google dropped down on Friday with a pretty nice big down move here with some pretty good volume, and could be starting this, what I like to call a bearish CD wing, right? The final wing of a harmonic, and could be working its way down. And what's interesting is if this is setting up for another, a different harmonic wing, there's still potentially more downside here for an 886 move, right? So, just real quick right here, you go here, right? A little bit bigger than the 618 on this one, but this could still come down to the 886 and then go up, right? So there's still maybe a little bit of downside on this one, and then we'll see if we work our way up. But in the meantime, if we gap down off of earnings and it's pretty deep and we're weak, this thing could actually be working on its first wing down. The 1.618 is down to 2400. Right, and you can see we had a big congestion zone here at 2400, so that's an interesting level of support. Below there is the 224, which is right at this major pivot, right? So that's another one right there, and then you've got this open gap right here at the 2.618, and the 3.618 is just no man's. I mean, it's just basically where it just chopped around here forever. So all these Fibonacci's actually play out really well with potential levels that were important in the past. And let's see what we have in store. We got a couple days on this one to get into earnings, but let's see how it handles the 886 off of this. So if we're bearish for the next couple days, right, and we get here, let me add on this one here. Add the 886 there, right? If we get down to the 886 right here, which is about the 2650 area, and we hold before earnings, that might be a bounce point. Right? And it also corresponds, pretty close to these recent levels here, right? So pretty cool stuff there. So that's what I'm seeing on Google. Paul, let's dig into that a little bit deeper. What's your wave count on this?
Yeah, interesting. That jives pretty well with what I got going here. We've had we've had a long impulse up for, I don't know, about a year and a half. This is a 2-day chart. I have this as the top of wave 3, and then we came down in this wave 4, and then we've had this long impulse up. Here we go. We've had this long impulse up, and I have us finishing a wave 3 right here. So far, wave 4 has only come down and kind of tapped the cloud, but it only came down to the 236, where usually wave 4s are going to go a little bit lower to the 382. I mean, not saying we can't get a triangle and go up, but it's possible we could have this A, B, C move down to this alt wave 4, and this number is around 2400. Which I noticed was the exact same as the harmonic. So
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I mean, if the harmonic is going to play out, it would be a wave 4 right to around 2400, and then we would have this wave 5 up.
Very cool.
Yeah, pretty interesting correlation there.
It's tough, or it just gaps up, 200 points, and we just keep going forever.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Right? So we got that going on. Cool, guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We got just a couple more to look at here. I honestly, harmonics and Elliott Wave, I think are two of the hottest topics, I think, to get your mind around and make for some powerful trading education. And when you combine the two, it can make for some very, very interesting stuff. So I'm really looking forward to see how things play out on earnings this week, to see how both these the counts and our harmonics align, to see where we go from there. Okay, cool. Just a couple more left here, guys. So Wednesday morning, we've got Boeing. So let's take a look at Boeing and see what that's looking right here. Let me pull up the harmonic on that one. So this is tough, guys. I had to like dig for a harmonic on this one. So Boeing's a mess. It's a hot mess, right? I mean, it's as a company and as a chart, right? So I had to like go out like freakishly far on this one to come up with anything that looked like anything, right? But you can't ignore this, right? What happened here, right? Back in 2019, right? The whole 737 MAX debacle, and then the big drop right here, right? That's significant, right? So we want to put a wing on that. And then this has been our most recent move up right here. It's pretty strong, and it just happens to correspond with, this nice retrace, right? So we've got this. Essentially this just about a let me get a regular fib on here. One sec. So here to here, it's obviously a little bit over the 382, but it's still interesting, right? So if we go here, add the 618 to this, right? We're kind of at about that 50% range on this retrace, right? So it's not quite a 382. It's okay, but I think it's something to to kind of keep an eye on. So it's not not perfect, right? But this pullback right here was a 382 from this wing, and so we're just been kind of chopping around this area right here. We know we've been channeling here on the shorter term time frames. We've been tracking this channel here forever. Like every Elliott Wave show, we've been talking about this, right? When is it going to break out of there, right? That type of thing, which is actually kind of cool. It aligns really nicely with that harmonic too, that wing. But if we do break out of this range after earnings, maybe we will work our way up to all-time highs. I think it's going to be tough, guys, until people start flying airplanes and all that stuff again, and going on that. So this is a stretch. You can kind of. I didn't want to get like too into the nitty gritty on this one because this harmonic would have been invalidated. It's not quite big enough for a shark pattern. So I mean, it was a little bit tough. You do have this. We still could be working our way up. Either way, it's a little bit bullish. But I do want to see us break out of that channel on Boeing, and we'll kind of see where we go from there. It still wouldn't surprise me to see a gap down. If it does gap down, this open gap is probably going to be a target. So it's not the most beautiful harmonic in the world, but it's possible. So Paul, what you got on this one? I think that channel is the most important thing.
Yeah. For Boeing, I'll start on the daily. We had this wave 3 up, and we've been in this kind of sideways down movement for quite a while now. Let's see, I have it as a WXY for the wave 4. I have us going up in a wave 1. Here we go. I have us going up in a wave 1 and a wave 2. Here's the big channel. This has been going on for a while, big correction, but we could say it ended right here at 4. Impulsive move up, wave 2 down, and then we had another impulsive move up to about the top of the channel, and then we started coming down again. But I have this labeled as a bullish 1-2, and maybe we'll get a bounce off the 887 or the dash line and start going up on 3. But technically, we're still in this sideways channel.
Yeah. So let's see if for earnings, let's see if we can gap up, right? And then if we can gap up and push a little bit, I think Boeing can get going. Back a few weeks ago, guys, in the public Twitter, in the group, this was a good day trade here to this wave 5 up. They gave us a nice move for the breakout of the channel. But one of the keys is it didn't hold, right? We don't want to swing until we know what's going on, right? So you can get a day trade out of that for a nice push. It was a great day. And then this pullback right here invalidated that as a breakout, obviously. And we've been pulling back there since. So Boeing needs the gap, and it needs to hold, right? If we get a gap and a shooting star, that's no good, right? If we get a gap in like a Marubozu candle and it's showing some strength and like earnings are legit, it could be pretty epic, right? So let's keep an eye on that and see what Boeing's got. Okay, guys, we got just 2 more charts left that we're going to look at here tonight, and I know you guys are looking forward to them. So we've got Apple and Amazon. So let me get Apple pulled up here, guys. Apple is interesting because Apple just finished a harmonic, potentially, right? At least on the shorter term times here. So if we go here. Tweeted this out a little bit earlier. Again, you look at the significant stuff, right? We had a nice move down right here, nice sharp move down here. And Paul was all over this name this week, guys. This was in the bubble report this week. Links also in the description. Paul tweeted this out, and we were bullish on it too. Paul tweeted this out as potential waves starting to the upside, and I love when you get these like I said, these 382 retraces, the 886. right? And that that is basically like your 1, 2, and let's go wave 3 right here. Especially if you get a nice drop, right? If you get that 382 off of the drop, and then you get that big retrace right here, that's often a 1, 2 and leads to a wave 3 move. Very, very powerful stuff. So right now, Apple has finished a potential harmonic, right? We got all the way up to the 1.618 extension. And we actually ended up closing with kind of a bearish candle straddling that level, right? That 150 level. So we'll see, right? This might be it. It might kind of grind its way down here a little bit into earnings, and then we'll see what it does after earnings. If it gaps up, right, you've got a couple levels above right here. In fact, the 224 is not even, I don't even think valid. I think we can get there, but the 2.618 is in play, and then the 3.618 is actually really not that far over all-time highs. Right, and so let's see what Apple's got in store this week. Paul, what do you have for account this one? Great job, guys. And once again, thebubblereport.com, links in the description. Paul called this one out. Was it last week, this week, into this week? For a really, really good move.
Yeah, we had quite a few winners last week. Elsid was a big one, but yeah, sticking with Apple. What I got for Apple is we've had this big wave 3 up, and then we have a wave 4 down. It's a fairly deep. Here we go. It's a fairly deep wave 4. It hits almost a 618, where technically I could change it to a 1-2. But we have this beautiful 3-wave up, triangle wave 4, top of wave 3. Then we come down WXY for a deep wave 4. And then I have this going up in an impulse. And I think Apple is going to have a complete wave 5. My wave 5 target's about 165. And it looks like we've done a 1, 2, 3, probably get a corrective wave 4, and then back up in the impulse in wave 5.
Wow, that's really cool.
I'm bullish on Apple. I don't think we're going down at least until we top this 3.
I like your extension on that one. It corresponds. Look at this one right here. The 3.618 takes us all. There's a crab pattern on the harmonics. It takes us all the way up to 162, and you've got us going up to 165. That's pretty good alignment.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty good
alignment.
Yeah,
no. Oh, perfect.
I love it. I love it when these when you get those sharp drops right there. It's basically like, you look at it like this. Once you get a sharp corrective move, look for a 382 retrace, and then look for the 886 pullback. If that 886 pullback holds and we get impulsive price action, like we close over the 80 whatever the case is, chances are we're working on a wave 3, right? And you can kind of see that right now, which is really, really cool. So cool stuff there, guys. And we wrote about that this weekend in the newsletter too. Very, very powerful stuff. So good stuff there, guys. All right, we got one more for you tonight. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. I think these are great combining it. And if you guys like this, if you guys like what we're doing here, combining harmonics and Elliott Wave, let us know. Let us know in the comments. After the video is closed, or on the Twitter. Let us know that you like it, and we'll look to do that more coming up. Like even in the next week. Earnings season's pretty cool. We could do it into earnings, or we could do it on kind of the go-to list names, kind of track and see where these harmonics are going with the Elliott Wave count, stuff like that, and really could help instead of kind of jumping around randomly with different names. We could really track a lot of these go-to list type names together, and really show some good stuff, right? So good stuff there. All right, last one, guys. Big one, right? The big name, right? So Amazon with a beautiful drop the other day. Now, we were bearish on this name going into Friday. Why? Because we filled this gap right here, right? And we look at that. We ran out of volume. We just kind of chopped down up here with the doji. It did one more look over that level right here and then shot down. We got bearish here intraday on Wednesday. We gave us a pause day, inside day on Thursday, and once we got that volume below that inside day, we were just short on this thing. This was one of the greatest beautiful short opportunities on Friday, and we pointed it out in the morning and all throughout the day, and it was just incredible. Just a beautiful move right here. Members do well. I got lots of messages with good profits on Amazon on Friday, which is fantastic, right? So that's good. But does that mean we're bearish going into earnings? Not necessarily. In fact, we talked about this several times on the live streams this week here, and in the daily videos that we put out. We talked about this. We were just like, hey, well, it'll probably just pull back here, kind of like to the ADMA, that type of thing, right? So I'm not super duper bearish on Amazon, but I do think it's interesting that it filled our move. We could come down and test the 3,300 level, kind of get back to the scene of the breakout here through this old geometric line, test it, consolidate, and move into earnings, right? So let's take a look at that. But let's take a look at the harmonic here and see what we got. So, generally, I'm looking at a bullish harmonic wing here, and what's really cool about Amazon is that we didn't, just like Elliott Wave, you don't want to you don't want it to cross over and validate, right? And so this really was a very deep move right here. Now this is a little bit different. Now this is not a 382 retrace, it's a 618 retrace, almost to the tick, right? And you can see right here, the low right here was 3175.76. The low right here was 3170. 6.25, so 50 cents higher than the recent lows, not invalidated, right? And so at that point here, right, what we have is a 618 retrace, a little bit, obviously a little bit deeper than an 886, almost 100% retrace, but not quite invalidating, right? And what that does is it tells us, hey, we may very well be working on an impulsive wave up. Right, and so that's exactly what we got, right? Just like 1, 2. So this is kind of like a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then boom, you get this wave 3 up right here. Beautiful upside move on this one, right? So you got this 1, 2, 1, 2 right here. In fact, this if this is just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 has not intersected wave 1 yet. So if we just hold this level right now, this is a valid wave count, and we could still continue to work our way up and finish up this wing, right? So let's see. This is not like a 3.618 extension type move, but if this thing wants to, it could get up to all-time highs. I've got the end of this harmonic getting basically up to the 37.77 level, so kind of a jackpot on that one. Let's see how that goes. But that's what I'm looking at on Amazon. Paul, what you got going into earnings this week?
All right, for Amazon, I do have a pretty bullish count, even with that big down day.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, look at that. How about it? So yeah, we had a impulsive wave went up, and then we kind of went down in this flag and an ABC, and then we started an impulsive move up with a 1, 2, 1, 2. We're about to bounce off the 618 right here, I think. So I think it's possible we could get a move up for Amazon. I got a pretty bullish count.
Cool. So you're basically looking at riding this Elliott Wave up too for this harmonic CD wing as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is the possibility of a gap down, and so if we after earnings, so if we do gap down, let's just keep an eye on that invalidation line and see how that holds.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So 3173-ish, right? So it seems to be like a big line in the sand. So
that could push us down for a lower wave too. So it is possible. Yeah.
So good stuff, guys. But generally, really, really cool stuff. It's very cool to see how these harmonics align. Like Paul said, both of them are heavily Fibonacci based. Harmonics is 100% Fibonacci based. Elliott Wave is Fibonacci guideline, right? But it's used a lot. Algos use it, things like that. And when we get alignment with the harmonics and the Elliott Wave, it can be very, very powerful, right? So good stuff. Again, like I said, let us know if you enjoyed this type of analysis here, combining the harmonics and the Elliott Wave. If you liked it, we'll try to do more of it, right? I think it's really fun. I enjoy doing it as well. So other than that, guys, Paul, we're kind of running past our usual time here, so we won't have time to take chart requests through the chat window. Paul's been posting again. He's been asking for requests ahead of time in the Twitter, so he's got time to look through the chart. So we won't be able to get through your requests and everything like that tonight through the chat, but Paul's going to go through a couple wave counts that you guys put in Twitter, and after that we're going to wrap up. So again, guys, thanks everybody for tuning in. Let's take a look at some of the counts that you guys have on the radar.
Okay, cool. So what I got here is 3 counts we're going to look at. This is a name I've never heard of. It's called DLO. When I look at it, we got a really nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulsive wave 1, ABC wave 2. Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see the big wave 3 gap right there. So 2 strong impulses up. So I have it 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we have this sideways corrective consolidation stuff. It's just kind of a choppy mess. I have it as a WXY, ABC. I think it's possible if we're going to get bullish, we could bounce off the last fib support, which is the 887. But technically, we could go all the way down to this dash line in this wave 2 and then get a bounce up. So you could remain bullish as long as we stay above the dash line, and I'd hope to see us bounce off the 887.
Cool, nice one. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't even know what that is either, but cool, good fun on that.
It was popular on Twitter. Some people were tweeting about it. So let's see, what else do I got? IWM. I like IWM. IWM. Okay, IWM. What I have for IWM is we have this big, this looks kind of messy, but we have this big sideways consolidation. I have it as a triangle. And to me, it looks like we're bouncing out of it. So I'm really bullish on IWM. I have this as a 1, 2, 1, 2. We got overlap. That's why it's not a 1, 2, 3, 4. But basically, this is a strong move up above the 80 MA, and I have this red wave 2 bounced right up to 618. So I think IWM could rock it this week. I'm bullish.
Nice. Let's go. Let's see how it goes. See if it moves.
Yep. And then one more. I'm going to get Tilray in here.
Tilray.
Tilray. A lot of questions about the pot names. I hope we're actually going to get a real bounce
Oh,
this
what do you
time.
know? It pulled back off of that bullish candle this week. Incredible.
Yeah. So I'll start out. This is a 2-day. We had the wave 3, and then we had this long forever ABC wave 4. But if we start breaking it down into the smaller time frames, you can see we had a push over the ADMA, and that's bullish. That's a bullish sign. If I go to the wave or to 4 hour, this could easily be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that would be the bull count for Tilray, and it's possible. And I do like these bullish candles in the price above the 8, and this does look like a wave 1, wave 2. So impulsive move up, very possible for Tilray.
We'll keep an eye on it. Let's see if it can actually give us a second.
Yeah.
Let's see if it can actually give us a third wave up. You know, a wave 3 up.
Yeah.
It always gives us a wave 1, and it's just like, no, never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. One of these days they're going to bounce. We'll be there.
It's going to take everybody by surprise, but we'll be there. Exactly. Good stuff. Nice. Well, good, guys. Appreciate the request. Thanks for putting those through Paul's Twitter for the request there. It gives him time to look at it and get the counts prepped and everything like that. But once again, guys, really appreciate everybody for tuning in for tonight's show. Sorry we're not able to get to requests tonight, but I'll be going live, throughout the week. So be sure to tune in then. We'll do our lightning rounds and all that stuff. If you like what you see here, let us know. Put it in the chat. Put it in the Twitters, and let us know. And if you want to see more harmonics and Elliott Wave combinations, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And we, of course, enjoyed you guys being here. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Paul, thanks again for being here too, and helping our group out with the Elliott Wave. And I hope everybody has a great one. We're looking forward to seeing you here on YouTube bright and early tomorrow morning for the Good Morning Market Prep video. And until then, stay healthy.